So then we know what we're going on. Justin, what's up, buddy?
Yo, what's up, Mr. Gray?
Nothing. You think you can do a better job than Stephen A. Smith to get people hyped for
Let me
WrestleMania?
tell you something. No, definitely not. Absolutely not. But I will say I'm pretty pumped because a little travel softball snafu. I was going from maybe missing both nights, being out on the road, to suddenly being here in my basement for both nights. Excited to watch, being able to do a preview show with you. And we already got our first thought in here from Mr. Shiflet that night 2 is going to be better than night 1 by a hair. So I guess we'll get into that, Ryan. But this is your show, so what do you want to talk about?
Well, we'll let the people fold in, but let's talk about what we got here. What happened beforehand here? What's NXT Stand and Deliver? Now, you have not seen an inch of the show, right, Justin?
No, I was commuting back from said tournament, so I'd missed everything NXT related. So I don't know who won anything or what. So if you want to regale me with thoughts and results, and I can react in real time, I guess.
Well, Chase U was bumped to the pre-show here, and they squeaked out a victory over the Schism.
Okay.
Duke Hudson showed a little alliance to the Schism, but bro, it was a swerve, and Chase U was back intact. It was
Beautiful.
like 10 minutes. 10 minutes of 2.5 stars.
I'm surprised that they had Schism lose, but
yeah, we'll throw that shit on the C show or the
right.
pre-show, and then the Rock's daughter doesn't have to lose in front of many people.
That's true.
Yeah, Indy Hartwell shockingly won the women's ladder match for the NXT Women's.
Oh wow, that would not have been my pick. I don't think anyone picked that on any of the previews that you did or anything like that either, or even on the PTB preview show either for NXT. I don't think anyone had that one.
Yeah, and your live response there was pretty genuine.
Yeah.
Index is back. Dexter Loomis appears out of nowhere and helps her get up the ladder. And in 17 minutes, she shockingly wins the NXT Women's Championship. It was all right. It was a typical ladder match.
It's the best place for Loomis. I mean, like, I feel like the gimmick can only go so far on Raw. Like, I think he'll just do better in that setting, and that's kind of where the whole thing grew. And didn't really have a full finish, right, because of the releases and all that. So I think it ended up being a good idea to at least bring them back together and have him play that role to help her win.
Yeah. Speaking of returns here, Joe Coffey returns and helps the Gallus Boys to win the triple threat tag team match for the NXT Tag Team Championship.
Okay.
Defeating the Family and the Creeds. I think he pinned Stax. Are you a big Stax guy? Could you point out Stax in a lineup?
I mean, maybe just by the name if I saw him.
Yeah, forget about it. There was a bunch of gabagoos out there in the entrance, so you would.
Oh, by the way, I'm told we're going to the NXT show in a few weeks, in a couple months.
We got your tickets, buddy.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I got the message from D'Amato. I was commuting. I was driving the other way, and I opened it up to see like 4 messages. One is like, "Do you want to go? Can you go? Should we get your ticket?" And then we got your ticket. So I was like, "All right, sounds good." So I got to get called back up. I need a tutorial from you, Andy Atherton, and Logan Crosland, NXT boys.
Yeah, so we got that one there. So Justin will be joining us on Memorial Day weekend against apparently right now it's at 7:30 kickoff. So
all right, I like it. Grooney joining us, watching live from SoFi. He's got some beautiful seats, him, the Cowboy, and D'Amato. So love
what else
those
are you
guys
doing
out
right
there.
now instead of joining us live, right?
Yeah, why not? Well, it's just a pre-show. They're not doing much else in there. It's better than talking to Grooney if you're there, right? Is listening to us.
Yeah, D'Amato and Cowboy should probably jump on too.
There you go. Mr. Kidd, not a fan of the Great Value Mamalukes or Marmalukes. Is that the dogs versus the Italian guys, I guess?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
But Wesley defeating Axiom Dragon Lee, Ilya Dragunov, and JD McDonough in a very stellar Fatal 5-Way for the NXT North American Championship. Would be as expected. Pretty flawless, some great spots. A little spot heavy there, but executed very well. And probably one of the must-see matches on the cards. Johnny Gargano defeated Grayson Waller via submission in an unsanctioned.
Waller's cooked, huh? What are they going to do with this guy?
Nah, it was match of the night, in my opinion.
I know, but he keeps losing all these big matches. Everyone thinks, oh, he's going to beat Braun Breaker. Then he was supposed to beat Gargano. What's going on?
You can lose if you got a mouth that can go. You know,
I'm gonna leave
pretty
that
much.
one alone.
But
It's such of a
maybe he's
lie.
had enough. And
Can't edit that out, so I'm not gonna make a comment on that one. But go ahead.
Yeah, you got a little index reunion there, so we'll see if that relates to the main roster or whatnot.
Was that the main event?
No, the main event. Well, then we got one more match here. Alba Fire and Asladon defeated Fallon Henley and Kiana James in 8 minutes of unforgettableness to win the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. It was fine. Move on.
Yeah.
Bring the crowd down because the crowd was pretty hot after those two hot matches.
Right.
And then Carmelo Hayes defeated Braun Breaker to win the NXT Championship match in a very good match. You know, it's the first of I accept two. I expect two matches. Probably our show we're going to probably the main event.
You don't think they'll bring up Braun Monday? You think they'll have him do one more job then come up?
Maybe, but
they need. I mean, what's they got for Monday? They gotta look. You know, we're gonna talk about this on a special coming out this week, but you know, the night after Mania hasn't been the night after Mania for a few years. So, like, are they going to try and kind of step that back up with the new creative direction and maybe load up some surprises or big things for Monday night?
I could see it, but I can also see him hanging around. You know, he is on the poster, and he is. They can do both. They've done both in the past, really.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like Sean was about in par with you. It was a fine match. Sounds like nothing.
Yeah, it was a good first match if they continue. You know, it was very kind of similar to the Dolph Ziggler match last year.
Right.
You know,
yeah, I would. I mean, we kind of called it, right? I remember we did the NXT live watch. Was that back in February? And I think we all figured once Braun beat Waller, that Hayes was the guy that was going to get the title on this show. So that seemed like it was pretty much set.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, that was it. I would definitely go back and watch the first two matches we talked about there.
Okay.
The Unsanctioned and the 5-way. And it was a good moment to see Carmelo win. You know, he's over as hell, all hell. So.
And then Gargano, worth watching. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was the Unsanctioned match for sure.
All right. Let's talk Mania.
Let's talk Mania. We got the opener, Cena here. What do you think? Cena and Theory going to go out there and deliver, or are they kind of just, is this on first for a reason? What do you think, Justin, as they kind of.
Keithy's asking. I'm not ignoring you, Keithy. We're trying to keep up here. Yes, you're coming through, bub. Yeah, I don't know. Like, we had like 3 minutes the other day, right, where we thought this was going to main event, and I'm like, well, if that's the case, then Cena is definitely going to win. If that's the main event, he's not staying around, right? Is there any rumors at all that he's here for like a run, or is this like a one and done?
Maybe the weekend, but why would he go first if he doesn't have to be somewhere tomorrow?
Right. So he's probably on his way out.
Yep.
Not going to stick around. So, I mean, all the right things are to do to have Theory win the match. I don't see why you do, but you can also make the argument a guy like Cena, you know, Theory can be made in a loss, right? Like if he goes toe to toe with Cena, it's a competitive match. Cena does the old 2009 John Cena where he takes a shit kicking for 9 minutes, you know, boom, AA, STF, and we're out. So like Theory can be in theory made even in a loss. That said, I think the more likely course is Cena jobs and then lays him out after, which I think maybe just as counterproductive as beating him. But I can't see Cena like taking the pin and leaving, like just rolling out of the ring. So like if he loses, I think it's like some chicanery and then he like recovers, hits the AA and wipes him out after the match. But you know, it's a good question from Sean. I've seen this one batted around too, right? What do you think of this?
Breaker, Jay White, you know, both are cute ideas, but you know, it's kind of wishful thinking to
against Cena on Monday.
Against Cena, yeah.
Yeah.
But you never know. I could see it against Theory though. You know, it comes out. I've beaten the 16-time champ. I've beaten an all legacy guy, and then they do the same angle there, and that's kind of a cheap way where Theory would lose, where he loses unexpectedly, and he really doesn't lose anything coming off the big win against Cena. So either or, you know, it's a decent spot for even one of those.
Right.
For sure. All right, next we got the tag team showcase men's style, Viking Raiders, Ricochet and Braun, Alpha Academy, and the Street Profits here.
So they love Alpha Academy the most of these teams. I think that's obvious. like based on recent events. I don't think they win because they seem like a team that could perpetually lose and be fine or whatever. So
they got a little beef going on here with the Maximum Male Models, kind of splitting them up anyways.
So they're probably not going to, you know, win this. I think it really comes down to Ricochet and Braun or the Street Profits.
Babyface, go home.
I think it's clear at some point they're splitting the Street Profits off, right? But I don't think we're going to get the split and feud with them. I think it's going to be an amicable split. I don't know if we're going to get like a draft or anything anytime soon, but I think they obviously want to start pushing, and I think it's going to be just like we split and go our own ways and then start the push. I don't think it's going to be where they break up and have the feud and then one goes heel. I just don't see that happening. So they could win here just to like kick that off if it's going to start tomorrow, right? Or if they're going to break up anyway, you may get the old like Hart Foundation 1991 WrestleMania 7 deal, right? Bret Hart, they lay down and then the team's done. So I could also see them taking the pin here and then start to go their own way and super push the solo. But I think not the solo cup. But I could see Braun or Ricochet winning. I can see like that being the highlight package, like him with Ricochet on his shoulders or whatever after winning the match. So
Yeah, some out of nowhere spot where they
yeah.
kind of just shine him up. I guess Braun.
Triple H loves Braun. Yeah, I just see that happening. Like, yeah, some big crazy spot, and they're supposed to be hot on Ricochet again, right? Isn't that the rumor too? Like that they're gonna maybe be pushing him again. That comes around every 3 months, I know, but
Triple H world, that makes sense. But I wouldn't really necessarily rule out the Viking Raiders here. They're only really heel team, necessarily. And if you got KO and Sammy coming out, could be first challengers too. Not to get too far ahead of us, but that makes sense also.
It feels like when they have a showcase, so it's like the face team.
Yeah,
because they might stick it after heel wins. So like is this the order? Did they say the full order? Is the second?
This is the rumored order.
Okay, because I could see them then if Cena loses, rolling this out and then going Street Profits win or whatever to kind of balance out Theory winning.
Yep. Well, but we'll see. And then I believe next here we have is Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul.
I'm excited for this. When I thought I was going to miss night one because of the strip, I was like, this is the match I was probably the most sad about missing potentially. I've been a big fan of Logan Paul's stuff since he's been here. I think he's been great. He's fully engaged. He's into it. Rollins delivers when he's against guys that can match his athleticism and style. I think Rollins' worst big match has always been against like bigger guys, especially because he was a heel through most of that. Oh my God. Sean Flaherty, my boy. Just want to pause. He's back. I mean, I don't care about the Red Sox walk. How did they won that game? They were down like 7-1. Shout out to my boy Sean. He was at WrestleMania 29 with us, so it's awesome to have him here. So I think this will deliver because Rollins does his best when he's not a heel beating up big guys, right? I think his best match has been athletic wars with dudes like Logan Paul. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Has Paul re-signed though?
Yeah, I guess it's 2 years now.
Right. Well, they said his contract was up, right? After tonight or what? He said it.
Like maybe a loophole where he had to
a Jeff Jarrett deal
or something. Yeah. But yeah, I think I would trust them not to get like too craziness out of Paul's wheelhouse. And I'm sure they've been practicing the match, so it should, really deliver. But yeah, the expectations is surprisingly high for this one where, Logan Paul is so green, but the ceiling is so high with him. And then,
well, the thing is, when a match with Rollins, the greenness to me doesn't matter because it's not going to be like a hold for hold, catch can match, right? Like it's going to be a wild, crazy spot fest probably, and he can do that. We know he can do that. So I think Rollins probably wins only because I don't know if Paul's staying around. If Paul's, I don't see Paul winning. I think Rollins wins this match.
And he needs it too. Like he's fine without it, but he needs it. Yeah. All right, the next match we have here is Trish, Lita, and Becky versus Damage Control. Interesting match here. It's kind of, I don't know. This is actually a 50-50 split too. You could see Damage Control getting the win. They kind of need it, but
they really need the win.
But would a loss do more for them as someone break away or tweak them somehow or whatever? So I don't know. There's, of course, there's rumors, but the rumors of Trish turning
going heel
doesn't really necessarily feel like it fits. But in a big spot like this, may deliver something like that. But I don't know.
I mean, if she's staying around, I mean, she's going to go heel. I mean, she's staying around, right? Is she stay? I mean, crazy things have happened. I guess she could stay for an extended run as a heel. That's the only way Damage Control wins in my eyes is if there's either her or Lita turn heel or whatever and kick off a little mini run as heels. Otherwise, I think the faces just go over and get the shine. Damage Control needs to win badly, but I don't see it unless there's a turn.
In a world of 2 WrestleMania showcase matches, this is on the same tier of uncontinental. There's no consequences to this one, and really no buzz or hype. But there's really 4 Hall of Famers in here, first ballot Hall of Famers, so they should go out there and deliver, no problem, if they, if they're given a shot to.
Yeah, I think it'll be very good. Maybe sneaky great. Like, I
Yeah,
don't see why it
the
can't be
bar is so
if they get
low,
the
it could
time.
be. You never know.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, they all can go. Like to your point, so I don't see any reason why it won't be very good,
Yeah,
unless they're just not given a lot of time. I mean, Lita, when Lita's rusty, it's rusty, right? So we could see a little bit of that. And Trish's spots tend to be not complex, but some of the stuff that it's timing based. So when she also has a long layoff, some of those timing based spots can be kind of messy, like the
it should be all right.
Matrix, and all that stuff, and the Bulldog. Some of that stuff can be, a little off on timing when she hasn't been working consistently.
For sure. Our next match here, we have father versus son. Rey Mysterio versus Dom Mysterio. I don't know,
Dom's
this
gonna win, right?
you would think, but I'm sure that motherfucker got something up his sleeve. But this is probably the most anticipated match of the night before, building up to it are the ones not including the ones we're getting to, but the ones we've
Right.
talked about. And for me to say that to you is kind of crazy. But with hindsight, they've done a really good job. So
I mean, so Rhea is wrestling tonight, right?
yes, this is tonight.
Priest is not,
No.
and Balor's tomorrow night.
Yes, and
Right.
oddly, this is back to back because Rhea's next. So
we could get some shenanigans, non-Rhea. Well, she's gonna be involved. You think Conan gets involved? That he sends some DMs after on the way to the ring. Yo, you see my interference?
Ask him. He shows up. Ask people in the crowd if they've watched his podcast or listened to his podcast. But I don't know. It should be pretty good. I don't expect it to be like match of the night or anything, but it should be super entertaining and a great story. And I don't think it's really necessarily over. But did you see that on SmackDown? Ray gave the Legado del Fantasma boys some LWO merchandise.
Yes, that was pretty sweet. So you think maybe they come in and help them out, run off Judgment Day?
Well, you would think so. I think
Right, they teased it for some reason.
Yeah, well, I'm more interested of what we're gonna get in like entrances wise. What are they gonna put Dom up to? Is it gonna have like a low rider?
Oh, definitely. He's going full Eddie.
Something Eddie.
Yeah, full Eddie. And I think Ray, I mean, Ray's deal was always like the superhero stuff, right? So I think we get, I don't know, like
who's an old superhero? I don't know.
No, well, father-son scenario, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. See which way they go. Guardians of the Galaxy comes out next month, so maybe something related to that.
Yeah, maybe
Batista comes out with him. He's Drax and Ray's Groot or Rocket.
Yeah, but hey, it's like I said, to think that this is the most anticipated match, that's crazy.
I mean, is this it for Ray? Is he done?
Well,
Hall of Fame.
They even put a stip. I'm sure he's on the back 9 for sure.
Right. But a Hall of Fame and fighting his son, it feels like this could be it. So I could see that going either way too. Like puts over his son, and then he's out
before the one,
right. Or he wins and farewell to the crowd and heads out. It's just they don't usually do the Hall of Fame thing unless someone's done. So
yeah, I think him being done is set in stone.
Right.
Perhaps not tonight, but somewhere in the very near future.
Because you got to figure they reconcile. But I don't think they're ready to end Dom as a heel, so maybe he's not done.
Yep. All right. The semi-main here. It seems like it's going to be Rhea versus Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. The build's been kind of blah or kind of not really there, but they don't need it. They got a great track record together in ring, and it really should deliver. There's no reason it shouldn't, unless they go out there and do something that gets in their way to prevent them to delivering a great match. But this should be one of the matches of the nights.
Yeah, I mean, Rhea should win. Everyone's picking Rhea to win. Maria Menounos. I just saw the pre-show. The girl picked her to win. But I can't get past Charlotte must pose. Like, I feel like we did this with Cena. We do our pick'ems and everything. This is what Cena's gonna. But no, like Cena would always just win. So like at some point, until they prove otherwise, I feel like you have to roll with it. So it's like,
And then to kind of put this not in the main event, but the semi-main event, maybe it's having to do with the decision of the match.
And is it heel? Has Charlotte been a face in this build, or is it not really? Right. So like in our main event, we're going to talk about in a minute. I think the faces are going to go over. So that would make you think a heel maybe here, but they're both kind of heels. So that doesn't really mean too much. I don't know. Well, let me ask you this: is this the coronation? We're not previewing night 2 right now, but is it the coronation of the Judgment Day weekend? Right. So does Dom win? Does Rhea win? Does Balor beat Edge in the cell? Or is it Judgment Day getting their comeuppance and having a shit weekend, and they have to regroup starting next week? So Ray beats Dom, Rhea takes a hard loss to Charlotte, Edge beats Finn in the cell, and they got to regroup. I think it's one or the other, probably.
Or the two ladders, and Dom's the one that's a loser, and then there's dissension or whatever. But yeah,
Or Dom's the only one who wins, and then he gets to talk shit.
Too. But yeah,
also possible.
The only reason I would say, hey, maybe Charlotte here is just because it's not the main event.
Right.
And that would be a shit finish out there. So maybe that's
they would have Rhea win in the main event. But I will say this: I don't think it's not main eventing because of who's in it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're not main eventing because Charlotte may win. I think they're not main eventing because they have to close with the Usos versus Zayn and Owens. Like, I think they just have to do it. So I don't think it not main eventing dictates to us who's going to win, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean brings up, he says, they may do Ray and Bad Bunny against Dom and Priest in Puerto Rico. That probably makes sense. So yeah, Ray probably isn't done for sure tonight. But
yeah,
gun to my head right now, I'm going Charlotte because I feel like until we're proven otherwise that she's not going to win the big one, Charlotte must pose. So I think we just got to go that way.
Hey, let's not rule out a Bad Bunny tonight. I don't know if he's in concert. I'm not looking. I haven't looked or whatever, but he's advertised for next month. So,
well, listen, Fightful in one of our chats with his brothers, some very secretive stuff, segment assignments for certain staff that no one was privy. Certain people were not even privy to the details of. So
keep them silent, keep them secretive, keep them. So, but let's get to the next one. You're going Charlotte. I'm going Rhea. I think it's the right choice, and
she should win. I'm all in. Like, I'm not going to be upset. Like, that's the way to go. But again, until we see Charlotte lose a big match at WrestleMania, she always ends up winning these matches where everyone thinks she's going to lose, right? So,
and hopefully in a prove it moment, Charlotte goes out there with Rhea and they deliver. From a quality standpoint.
And even at 35, right? She didn't take the fall to Becky. It was Ronda. So. Right? Didn't she pin Ronda that match?
Yeah, she did the weird roll up. Ronda broke.
So it was shitty, but my point's still there that Charlotte still doesn't usually lose these big matches.
Asuka in 33, she wasn't pinned. So yeah.
And what was last year? She beat
Ronda in a surprise too.
Yeah.
Ronda won the next month. So
it's Mania.
It's Mania.
Charlotte's the new Hogan, is the new Cena.
New Taker.
Charlotte must pose.
All right, so here we go. Before we jump into the main event, Logan brings up saying Nick Khan says expect a lot of surprises.
Yeah, they said that shit for SummerSlam too, though, and we didn't get much after the opener. I think after that opener was the most exciting like WWE's probably been in like 20 years. After that, when Bailey and Dakota Kai came out with Io and all that, like, oh my God, Triple H is in charge. He said all these surprises. Now look at this opener was crazy surprises, and the rest of the night there was like no surprise, like nothing's different.
It was all chalk too.
I mean, it's been WWE programming has been very good since then, but my point is, like, I want to see it. Let's see the surprises. We always see these rumors, and I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's why I just said Fightful, Observer, all them. Zip it. PW Insider, zip it. I don't want to hear any of that jazz. Yeah. Let's just go.
Unless it's Grooney live in SoFi seeing something, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. You think Rooney's still listening? He's in the corridor, like listening or something.
Yeah. He may be listening. He's a loyal fan.
Yeah, Rooney's the man. All right, so now we're at the main event. Then Justin, I do think this should be the main event. It's the right call.
They have to. Call. Now I'll level set with this. Like, I think with a 2-night Mania most years, and I think last year was a tough one too, but the women should get one of the nights. Like, I do believe that should be the case. Like 37.
They earned it. Yeah.
If it weren't, but like last year was tough because like, how do you not main event Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah, you got it.
And then Roman Brock, obviously. So it's like this ended up the same freaking way. Like Roman Cody's clearly a night 2 closer.
Yeah.
But the way this has been built, like you have to. So it's tough how it kind of, screwed him up for sure.
Yeah, but and this one isn't really necessarily who's winning. It's just kind of just pure excitement, and let's just get to it. Really,
All right. So what's your call? Zayn Owens win, or do we get an Owens turn?
That would be ballsy. That would be very ballsy. I would go chalk with this. I would just have the great moment. I'd embrace, and I would add some dissension going into night 2. Will Roman, I'd have a segment with the bloodline early on,
Right.
very reminiscent of the Survivor Series. Like, Jay, you're kind of messing up here. You're not carrying the weight, and that leads to something bigger. But can they carry on? We'll talk about tomorrow night, but I
Yeah,
would definitely go chalk here.
this is one where I think the car positioning does mean something. I think if this is earlier in the night, you're looking at maybe the heel turn. I
Mhm,
don't know if they wrap the show with that, but and I was against two night manias for a while, but I'm kind of
mhm,
on board now. And I think this is where the two night mania benefits, that they can do these cross night angles, and they can end um night one with a cliffhanger that's not a traditional mania ending, and still close night two with that traditional ending, right? So they could do something with the screw job tonight with Owens and Sammy. Yeah, you may leave tonight with some bad taste, but you're going to get a whole nother night tomorrow, probably with Cody winning.
mhm.
So it's like, it kind of balances perhaps now having those two night options that you could lead into the next night. Last year wasn't the case. We had Austin, did his thing and everyone went home happy both nights. So, well, night one for sure. Night two,
Yeah.
a little shaky, but
So, this is our 4th year of 2-night WrestleManias. It's been baby faces every night, night 1. You had The Undertaker in the pandemic, whatever, but that was received very well throughout social media or whatnot. Then 37, you had Bianca in that great moment. Last year, I had Stone Cold in that epic return legacy. And, you got to think that you're getting the same, but like you said, play a little devil's advocate here. Is it due for night 1 to have a sour taste in your mouth? And then you're like, Bloodline stays dominant. And that's
yeah.
the storyline going into the main event of night 2. So,
It just depends how you want this story to end with Owens and Zayn. Like, is it the crowning moment? They're back together. They win the titles and the bloodline reign, because you
mhm,
have Cody win tomorrow night, and then you open Raw with the three new champions pissing on the bloodline, right? Like
mhm.
that's a path. But there have been these little teases and hints, and like I'm not totally against Owens turning on, because he's got every right to do it, right? He's like, why should I just take you back and trust you after everything you did? He's got every right to say, I'm done with you, and
So,
turn on him in this big main event. Sammy gets his main event that he wanted, right? And now Owens gets to stick it to him. I think both, it's a rare case where, like, I think both paths actually are intriguing. Like, I really want the nice moment. I think Sammy and Owens both deserve it, but
mhm.
I also think the story could potentially be better if he were to turn on him.
Oof, he would be a mega heel there. He would
Anyone
be,
watching in the chat or on Facebook, if you want to throw it in on YouTube or Facebook and let us know. I'm curious. We got a few more minutes. We're going to wrap up here, probably in a couple. But if you want
or
to,
your most anticipated match for the night, too,
yeah, that too,
as
that
we
too.
get to the end of it here. What's
All right.
that?
So any surprises tonight, or is it all tomorrow night?
I think, well, Lashley's out there saying stuff on social media. So, do we do that tonight, or is that also an LA Knight moment too with Lashley? Is
Well,
that
that's what I was
together?
wondering.
Or
Is
is
that
that
tonight or
separate?
tomorrow? Right. Yeah.
Is that one
Lashley's got to
moment
do
separate?
something. Lashley has to do
No.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
Knight does too. I mean, he's too over
he
not to
has
come out
to,
and do
especially
something. But
after
is it
last.
Austin? Do we get Knight in Austin?
That's too. So it's just kind of like you assume that if they're gonna get Austin, whatever night is probably looking lesser from an in-ring
Right.
standpoint would probably be, and that maybe is probably tomorrow night. But you never know.
The
A
Rock,
lot of
is The
KO
Rock going to be
turns.
there?
The Rock, I don't know. He's on his jet this week. Who knows? So we'll see.
It's LA, man. LA Mania. I feel like when Jesse, how he was so excited for WrestleMania 7 and then didn't make it. He got left the company before that. He was so pumped to have a Hollywood WrestleMania.
Yeah.
All right. I think Mr. Capel's got, this is kind of where I'm at. I think,
Yeah.
like, it's a ballsy move, but it would be such a good story. And it makes sense. It's not a swerve or a turn for the sake of one. It's like, or like, it makes sense within the whole thing. So, but it also hurts. Like, it'd be such a heartbreaker because we're finally here with these guys. They deserve to close the night with the belts, right?
They deserve it. And we got another one from John C. here. Tonight is KO Mania 7. So this is a shirt. Has to be all Canadian to counter the U.S. theme of WrestleMania 7. Canada wins.
He's definitely the type of guy to do it. So it's definitely possible. Yeah, we got KO turns. I think that's Jetty running that one. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm torn. I just, again, like, I feel like we haven't had a situation like this in a long time where both paths are kind of cool, and it's like I don't think either way will be like too upsetting. It will be, but it may not be.
that that would be a sight, huh?
Logan Paul from the Giant Poke. I'll tell you, this is the other thing with Logan Paul. Like, I know it was like a running joke on the internet with Bad Bunny a couple years ago, like,
Yeah.
oh, all of a sudden everyone knows Bad Bunny, right? Like, but the Logan Paul thing is real. So like, my son who's 8 has no clue about anything wrestling wise besides
Yeah.
like John Cena, right? Because he's on like Nickelodeon stuff or whatever. He's a meme. But like the Logan Paul shit, like he knows about it. He knows it comes out with the Pokemon card. He knows he did the big jump at the Rumble. Like that stuff is like it hits like the YouTube culture and YouTube community. So like to me, that's been well worth it. However you feel about him as a person or even in ring, like that is one case where I think they are actually finger on the pulse and like
Yeah.
it's hitting.
And for the wrap him up for 2 more years is big. Who do you got? Keithy here?
Right. Yeah. He thinks we get the tease so we could get the Survivor Series 92 with Mr. Perfect pretending to walk out, thinks about it and comes back, helps win. I think that's possible.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know. But the Logan Paul thing to me works. I actually think it's not just Triple H. I think Nick Khan has added a lot in this space, like kind of finger on the pulse and these branding opportunities. Like, they already said we're going to get, right, some Fakakta Mountain Dew black or dark style
Oh,
thing here.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, is it?
Yeah, we're
I
going to
think
get
it's
that.
Ray.
So
It
where
has
does
to do
that come
with
in?
Ray. It has to do with Ray, I think, actually.
Oh, he's going to do something with that?
I believe so. Isn't he on one of the boxes or
I
soon
don't
to
know.
be on a box or something? I don't know. That's
Yeah.
actually a kind of a
Keithy says
safe
yes. So
it's a safe spot to do it, honestly, if they're gonna do it.
is Bray there?
I don't know. You don't really know until you know with
Yeah.
him. And that could just be the whole Bray Wyatt and Lashley of it all could be could they put those pieces together here and they kind of swerve us a little bit. I don't know. Who knows? But honestly, it's ice cold and that's a way to heat that up, maybe. Maybe.
Right.
I'm not necessarily sure.
I mean, I'll say this. I think the card's pretty well built. It's tight, which I think helps too. Like, I know
Mhm.
it goes against the get everyone on the card vibe, but I think we have 2 nights that are probably going to go about 3 hours. Should help
3.5
alleviate
probably.
the
Yeah.
old concerns about. I mean, it's still a 7-hour show, right? But broken up over the 2 nights makes it a little more palatable. And like every match you ran down, I'm like, oh, that'll be good. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Besides like the showcase, but even that should be a fun
It should even be great. That
8-minute.
should be athletically fine. Yeah.
What they should do is like, what year was it? Was it 28 where they kind of threw and there was one where they did one of these and it was like, it was rapid fire, but it was pretty good because it just kept it going. It was like, yeah, everyone got their shit in. It was like 8 minutes. They all got a spot and they got out. Like that's what this needs to be. Where
Teddy Long,
is that the
Vicky
team
Guerrero.
Teddy? Yeah, that ended up being like okay. I think it's just like
Yeah.
yeah, it's a showcase, but just get all the shit in. Like we don't need a heat segment. We don't need some like rest holds. Like just it should be boom, 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 and then out like 8, 9 minutes, and just let them get all their crap in.
Yeah.
All right, let's
So
see. Sean here, we can probably wrap up in a second, but he says, Keith might be slight hints, a heel turn, but in the end, 2 of them hold the titles, Pyro going off. Cole says the bloodline's rooted. I think that's the way it's going to go because it adds
and
that
there's
intrigue to Roman and Cody. Yeah.
and to their core, they're always gonna fight. Or they're always gonna have bicker and be friends,
Right.
So
Yeah. And they haven't been friends in a while. And the last time they were, it sucked, right?
it could
it
go
2017, 16,
yeah.
it was like some of the worst stuff either of them have had in WWE.
It could be and it could go to the story too. Last night, the Usos saying, "You guys wish you were brothers. We're real
Right.
brothers. There's a real connection here." And then maybe they have a little bicker and they swerve them. That's how they get the Usos because the Usos are 620-day champions. That's nothing to
Yeah.
sneeze at. They
Right. So
should
now you're
have
going to end 2 dominant reigns in one weekend and set up a superpower, Sting and Road Warriors type team, right? With
let's
Cody
pump the
and
brakes tonight too on that, buddy. We'll get there
Cody. Well,
tomorrow.
yeah, we'll talk about it
I'm
tomorrow,
not
I guess.
sold on that. I'm not sold on that one. I'm not necessarily sure I
All right.
want that
This
one.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Johnny C
Ability.
says, Johnny Knoxville confirmed is in the building. So we'll see how that goes. But
Uh-oh.
Johnny C is also prone to April Fool's jokes. So we'll see.
He
First
wasn't
April, is this the first April Fool's Mania since 17? I feel like there's probably been another one since then, but
No, 23 was.
yeah. I remember
And
everyone
then
thinking the gimmick battle royal was going to be fake, like not real, because they thought it was an April Fool's joke, that it wasn't going to really happen. All right, let me
yeah,
ask you this. I'm going to put you on the spot right now. At the end of tonight, around 11:30 midnight, end of night 1, are we going to be sitting here with the buzz that after tomorrow night, this is like an all-time Mania? It could be an all-time Mania.
potentially because if you look in the
I don't want
historically,
potentially, yes or no.
yes,
We're going to
because
leave tonight and say if tomorrow night delivers, we're looking at like a top 10 to 12 Mania.
yes, just
Because
looking at the
37
structure.
was kind of that way, I think.
Yeah, and last year too. Look, I was gonna say historically,
Yeah, last year was great too. Yeah.
even with the pandemic closing with the Boneyard, there was a lot of buzz heading into that next night. So
Yeah. That
Yeah,
show
I think
sucked
that
though. It doesn't exist in my world. So let's say
TV wise,
37. I think is a top one, maybe a little overrated in the moment, but I think it holds up. I think last year's was
it's
really
so
great.
cool last
I
year. It
think if
was.
Roman Brock delivered, we'd be talking more about that show probably. But
Mhm.
um, so yeah, so we wrap up at 11:30. You think we're going to be saying if tomorrow night, if Roman Cody delivers, Brock has a cool moment, and the Gunther match like is what we think it could be. Um, will that be the case?
To go the clotheslines again, when we did that video where we teared of our anticipation for it, we had
Yeah,
3 all-time matches potentially lining up here with 4 no, actually, we had 4 all-time matches potential with,
yeah.
the tag, the Universal, and then, Charlotte, and then with, another one I forget. But yeah, the Gunther match for sure. There's a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think Gunther match should
potential,
be great. We'll see if
and that's
Drew's,
not even
the rumors are right there. We'll talk about it tomorrow night, I
yeah,
guess. But
and that's not even including Logan and Rollins either. So
right,
there's a lot to go into. A lot of
there's
a lot
definitely
of apple to
potential.
bite into here tonight. So yeah, I think the buzz will be high, and I think it will land.
Yeah, Capel says whatever we're saying about the last two manias will hold true for this one. It's tough for me because this is the first one, not counting pandemic, stupid mania. It's the first one I haven't been at live since 31. I mean, that was a lifetime ago in the world of
Mhm,
WWE. I've been at every one since 2016. So to me, this is the first one I'm going to be watching without that like live haze you get. When you're at the show, especially a show like Mania Live, that you come out with everything kind of feels a little bit better than it probably was a lot of the time, especially those long ones.
mhm.
But I'm curious watching this one at home how if I'll still get that kind of Mania high off it.
As I think you will. I'm
Let's have it
anticipating. How
tonight.
about you? I'm for it. I think but I'm more of an optimist than not. So what about you?
Yeah, I think it's the pieces are all there, especially if we end the night. Even if the rest of the night is like okay, I think if we end the night um with Sammy and KO winning the tag titles and standing tall after a great match that they're all capable of putting on, I
Mhm.
think the buzz will be hot coming off it tonight. So I think as
It's
long
no,
as we get that, everyone's gonna feel good.
there's no chance Triple H in his first fully booked WrestleMania wants to have any stinker buzz whatsoever.
We
So
said
I
that. Well,
trust.
I mean, with yeah, oh, it's not gonna be a stinker, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
I think he's gonna pace it extremely well. I think he knows what he's got his finger on. I think he knows what he wants to do.
he's gonna have to win. But I thought that we thought that at the Chamber
Yeah.
maybe too, right? That
It might
Sammy
get a
wins
little
in
shaky with
Montreal and they didn't
Cena,
do it.
showcase, you might have to Bailey. The first few matches might not be, wow, but I think
Yeah,
towards the tail end here, we're gonna be going good. I think the story coming out with Dom's gonna be exciting, the Charlotte
yeah.
the Charlotte match, and then I think closing, whatever we're talking about, I think it will deliver. So, yeah, I'm pretty optimistic with that.
Yeah, so Tim thinks, they'd have to, like you're saying, pretty much try to screw this up. Johnny C says it's the best set from some time. I thought
Yeah,
last year's set was cool, but this one definitely looks pretty sweet. I think the King's probably still Orlando,
yeah, the
33,
roller
the amusement
coaster
park
and
in the Globe.
everything,
That thing
yeah.
was sick. Um,
The funny part
35
is
was great too, but
I was gonna say 35 being so simple, but I believe that was, like, the most expensive because of all the
yeah,
how so simple, but like, bold. It was, like the best one for that was bold. This one is
yeah.
just, like, aura. I don't know.
You knew they were
It's
going to go
glitz.
crazy for LA.
Yeah, they kinda
Uh,
have to. That
yeah.
stadium's so beautiful to begin with, It has to.
All right. Well, listen, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah,
I got about 15 minutes to showtime, so I'm going to go get set up and
yep.
logged in and all that and get ready to roll. But check out everything here. If you enjoyed this, we'll be back all kinds of stuff, either live or tape. So hit subscribe so you get notified of these things or follow us on Facebook as well. Over on Twitch, if you go to the place to be um, live chat group, there's going to be a Twitch all night live during WrestleMania. So the link is in there. It'll be on the social media too. I'll tweet it out from the NoSo Connection Pod Network Twitter. So if you want to listen in on Twitch during the show, if you want to pop in and out, we'll have a lot of crew on that. That'll be enjoyable. And then Ryan, I'm sure either you or me or someone will be back tomorrow night, the night 2 preview.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. We also got a viewer's choice. Don't forget tomorrow night,
Doing
maybe
both.
within an hour or so after the show ends, Marcus and Tim, that'll be audio only on the podcast feed. They'll be wrapping that up. They always do an awesome job. And then Ryan and I got a little treat for you Monday as well. That'll be in your notifications Monday morning for Raw. So check that out.
Very fitting.
It's Mania. I'm going to end with one comment right here because this is what everyone should always say. Amen, JT. Thanks, Johnny C. We're out. Enjoy WrestleMania. One of the best nights of the wrestling year for sure if you're a WWE fan. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for checking us out. Talk to you soon.
Later.